The hands that saved her synopsis, a wealthy, entitled white woman, Margaret Whitmore, is rushed to the hospital after a medical emergency. When she regains consciousness, she lashes out at the black nurse taking care of her, spewing racist insults. But when she learns the shocking truth about her past, her entire world crumbles. The sterile scent of antiseptics and beeping monitors filled the private hospital room as Margaret Whitmore slowly opened her eyes. Her throat felt dry, and a dull pain throbbed in her chest. Looking around, she realized she was in a hospital. Then she noticed the nurse standing beside her, checking her IV. A black nurse, Margaret's lips curled in disgust. "Where's the real nurse?" She snapped. The woman in blue scrubs turned to her, unfazed. "I'm your nurse, Miss Whitmore. My name is Jasmine Carter." Margaret sniffed, her nose wrinkling as if she smelled something foul. "Unbelievable. First, I have a heart attack, and now I have to be touched by someone like you." Jasmine didn't react, just continued adjusting the machines. "Your vitals are improving," she said calmly. Margaret scoffed. "I don't need your opinion, girl. Get me a real nurse, someone who actually belongs here." Jasmine took a deep breath, but remained professional. "I'll let the doctor know you're awake," she said before stepping out. Margaret muttered under her breath, shaking her head. Disgraceful. A few hours later, a doctor entered, a tall, middle-aged black man with glasses. He smiled politely. "Mrs. Whitmore, I'm Dr. Reynolds. How are you feeling?" Margaret frowned. "I'd feel better if you people weren't the only ones taking care of." Dr. Reynolds sighed, exchanging a glance with Jasmine, who had returned with some paperwork. "Mrs. Whitmore," the doctor said, "we ran a full workup on you. Your heart attack was severe, but you're stabilizing. However, there's something else you should know." Margaret raised an eyebrow. "What?" Dr. Reynolds hesitated, then spoke carefully. "We ran a genetic test to check for hereditary conditions. And, well, the results revealed something unexpected." Margaret's patience was wearing thin. "Spit it out already." Dr. Reynolds folded his hands. "Mrs. Whitmore, your DNA shows that you have African ancestry. In fact, over 40% of your heritage is black." The room fell silent. Margaret blinked, then laughed, a sharp, humorless sound. "That's ridiculous. My family is pure. We come from a long line of." Dr. Reynolds handed her the printed results. "It's all here. It seems your great-grandmother passed as white, but biologically, she was of mixed race." Margaret's hand trembled as she took the paper, her face turning pale. "And this can't be true." Jasmine, who had been silent until now, finally spoke, and yet it is. She studied Margaret with a calm, knowing expression. "The hands you just insulted? The hands you didn't want touching you? They're the same hands that saved your life." Margaret couldn't look at her for the first time in her privileged existence. She felt small her entire life. She had hated something that was inside her all along, and the very people she despised had been the ones to keep her alive. The message: this story explores the irony of racism, the weight of ignorance, and the humbling power of truth. Margaret Whitmore starts off as a hateful, entitled woman, but by the end, she is left questioning everything she believed about herself. Would you like any modifications or additions?